Okay, tonight, the order is we're going to do with the mayoral candidates first. Then we're going to move to the trustee candidates. The third set of panelists will be members or candidates for the council at large. And then finally, I'll be reading the two statements from Ward 2. Ward 1, 3, and 4, again, are uncontested, and so therefore, we are not giving time to them tonight. Okay, questions are generated from the audience, both in person and from Zoom, screened by volunteers from the Chamber, Kiwanis, as you've heard, and the League of Women Voters. The same questions will be given to each candidate. So what we'll be doing is the candidates will have time for 2 minutes to open. Then we'll be doing questions. And the amount of time maximum that we're going to be allowing depends on how many candidates are there for the race. So for example, for the mayoral race, there are 2 candidates. We're allowing a maximum of 20 minutes. For the trustees, there are 3 candidates, so we'll extend that another 5 minutes to 25 minutes. For at large, we have 4 candidates and we'll do a maximum. It doesn't have to go that long, but if we need to go that long, we can go 30 minutes. At the end of the questioning time frame, in reverse order, we will have 2-minute closing statements from all the candidates. We also have a volunteer timer who is in front of me, is in the first row, and will have signs at 30 seconds, 15 seconds, and then a stop sign if that is needed. The forum is open to the public. No substitute or stand-in may appear for any of the candidates. After the forum, a recording will be available to voters who cannot attend, as well as to you for distribution. I've talked to most of the candidates here tonight. I asked them if they had any questions and let them know what was going on. And again, this is a collaboration between the Chamber of Commerce, Olmsted Falls, Kiwanis, and the League of Women Voters. So with that, would the candidates for the mayoral race please come up? Right. Told to speak a little closer. The opening statements will be delivered. The candidates going in alphabetical order, so we'll start with Chad Gloss first, followed by Holly Crest Newton. Mr. Gloss.
Yeah, check. Check. Works. So,
Mr. Gloss.
thank you. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Chad Buss, and I'm running for mayor of Olmsted Falls. I have 28 years of experience in public safety and leadership. 23 of those years right here at Olmsted Falls. I'm running for mayor to serve the people of the city with integrity, dedication, and transparency. As a lifelong public servant, I believe in putting our community first, always. I'm honored to currently serve on City Council. I'm the chair of the Insurance Committee. I'm a member of the Finance, Utilities, and Service Committees. I represent Olmsted Falls with the Southwest Community Health Systems Board, and I'm the former fire chief of the city of Olmsted Falls. My wife and I camped in Olmsted Falls since 1997. We've raised all 3 of our daughters here, and we've enjoyed every moment. We love this charming community. We love the historic district of Grand Pacific. We love the beautiful falls, the safety, the spirit of community, the nature, the small town feel. And for that, I intend to honor and continue the past, celebrate the present, and together look forward to the thriving future. I have an unmatched understanding of the city's operations. As a councilman and as a former fire chief, I have a firsthand understanding of how the fire department, police department, and service departments function. I have decades-long relationships with the law director, the finance director, boards and commissions members, business owners, and community leaders. I am the first mayoral candidate that has ever been endorsed by all 3 service unions and have significant support from our business community. I deeply understand the city's budget, the services, the strategic partnerships, and as a member of the city's Finance, Insurance, and Service Utilities Committee, and on our Southwest Community Board, I have the knowledge and experience needed to understand our city's complex workings from the ground up. and this is the experience that Olmsted Falls needs in their next mayor.
This is you.
Good evening, my name is Holly Newman. I'll wait till you're ready.
I'm sorry, it doesn't want to stop. There we go.
Now when you're ready.
Okay, you're good.
Okay. Thank you. Good evening, my name is Holly Newman. I would first like to thank the Olmsted Chamber of Commerce, the Olmsted Kiwanis Club, and the League of Women Voters for hosting this event tonight. I appreciate the time and effort you put forth to allow the residents of 44138 to access candidate information. I'm excited to be a candidate for the mayor of Olmsted Falls for the same reason I've served the community as a three-term elected official of the Olmsted Falls Board of Education. I was born and raised in this community and am passionate about the city I love and live in. As a proud graduate of Olmsted Falls High School Class of '85, growing up, one of my family's core values was community involvement. I was taught to be an engaged citizen that serves the community to contribute to its success. This is how you know me. You know me because for the past 12 years, you have trusted me to govern one of our city's greatest assets, our school district. I've demonstrated homegrown leadership, overseeing a budget of $55 million, approximately 450 employees, and 3,500 children. I've dedicated my public service to ensuring the community was well informed and residents had input. I am proud of the work I accomplished with the key communicators group that has parents, students, senior citizens, and business owners as members. I have a proven record of working collaboratively with our neighbors, safety forces, and community leaders, building relationships to enhance our quality of life. My hard work and dedication can be seen in the community with my service on the board of Meals on Wheels Cleveland West and various parent groups at the schools. Additionally, I was a past board member of the Olmsted Chamber of Commerce. As mayor, I'm committed to strengthening community engagement, enhancing our quality of life, utilizing responsible planning, building effective collaboration, and ensuring we have fair and equitable tax quality policy for all. Thank you, and I look forward to answering your questions.
Well, the first question, and what I'll be doing, by the way, is alternating candidates so that not every candidate will have the first question. Mr. Glutz, I'll start with you. Do you see areas where Olmsted Township and Olmsted Falls could collaborate to serve both communities? 1 minute.
Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, we kind of already are collaborating in some areas. For those of you who don't know, we are in a collaborative dispatch center with North Olmsted, which Olmsted Falls and Olmsted Township are also in. We have talked for years on the fire service side about doing more collaboration between fire departments. And I'm sure there's some opportunities there within the police and service departments also.
I see a lot of opportunities for us to collaborate with our neighbors that share the same zip code as us, 44138, to be Olmsted Township. We also have incredible opportunities to collaborate beyond 44138 with our neighbors that we border, North Olmsted, Brook Park, Columbia Station, and our county. Already, Mr. Buss is right. We do collaborate. At the school district, we collaborate with Olmsted Falls and Olmsted Township with our safety forces. We have a school resource officer in every building. When I was board president in 2023, we called everyone together for a safety summit. And we partnered with both communities to protect our children and our staff and anybody that enters our school buildings. Began a partnership with our kids to teach them violence is not the answer and help them to make good decisions. I think we have incredible collaborative opportunities with recreation, senior programming, special events, parks and rec. We have a lot of opportunity. Thank you.
Next question, we'll start with Mrs. Newman. With our small commercial tax base to supplement the taxes paid by residents, how would you as mayor entice businesses to relocate or expand Olmsted Falls?
So right now, Olmsted Falls does have, opportunities for, businesses to take advantage of store front improvement. There's money there for them to, improve their business if they choose to. We still have a tax abatement in Olmsted Falls that is, approved for commercial building, and that will entice, businesses to want to come to Olmsted Falls. We have an economic development director that works very closely with our business community, and we've seen it with the transition from the wine cellar to do in their wine bar. I think that we have some land left over, and so we should look very hard to see if we can create that for some sort of commercial. We do have 8,000 square feet on the 3rd floor of City Hall. Let's see if we can do something.
Mr. Lewis.
Thank you. Yes, so first I do agree with, we do have some tax incentives that we can look at. We do have the CRA's bill. We do have some income tax and some property tax things that we can entice new businesses. Some of the things we could do too is help our current businesses. I'm currently working with talking with a current business person about some events that go on in other cities. I think bringing more people into the downtown area, getting people to be able to know what we have and what we can offer, and to see that we have a vibrant downtown. That in itself will entice people to go ahead and relocate here and be able to bring their businesses here.
The next question, Mr. Glutz. Do you support taxpayer dollars being used for private religious education or charter schools?
No, I do not. I believe that it's a parent's choice where to send their children. However, I believe that the parents' responsibility, tax responsibility is for the community in which they live. I am a product of a private school, and my parents paid for that out of their own pocket.
Mrs. Newman.
I'm not exactly sure what this has to do with the city of Olmsted Falls, but I as well support school choice. But you have to realize that when funds from the state of Ohio are diverted to non-public education schools, the burden then goes on everybody sitting in this room that's a tax-paying citizen. The way that our schools are funded has been ruled unconstitutional multiple times. And the only way that the schools can get new money to support the resources that their students need is through local levies that's on the backs of taxpayers. And until Columbus decides to change that, we're all going to be responsible for them. And at the moment, what Columbus is deciding to do is divert those funds away from public schools and continue to tax you, the tax.
The next question, first answered by Mrs. Newman. If elected mayor of Olmsted Falls, do you also have the qualifications to serve as safety director? If so, how? And if not, how would you fill the position?
So, as I understand it, it's a law or it's a requirement in the state of Ohio that the mayor is the safety director. They don't have to be, they can hire somebody to be the safety director. From what I understand, the position of the safety director is managing our safety forces. I have never been a firefighter. I never will be a firefighter. I've never been a police officer. I never will be a police officer, but I have plenty of organizational management experience. Serving on the school board, we have 450 employees, and we do a lot of managing of those employees. And we also have to be responsible for the safety of 3,500 children. And I have a lot of experience in keeping those kids safe every day they walk to our school. Thank you.
Mr. Gross.
Yes, so I obviously feel that I'm very qualified to be the safety director. I obviously was the fire chief at one time. being a fire safety inspector, being a safety director is more than managing people. You're going to need to know in the fire service, there's certain laws, certain regulations, certain rules that you have to follow. The same holds true in the police department. And so we're going to have somebody that's going to be able to know how to manage those resources. We're going to have to know somebody who's going to be able to do the research to find out those laws and how to handle those kind of situations that are not normal, like HIPAA, like releasing police personal information. Those are all things that are beyond just a general management duty. And I believe I'm very qualified to handle those duties.
The next question is also about the safety director position, and the person who wrote this gave a specific question for each candidate. So for Mr. Glass, will you serve as safety director for full pay or reduced pay?
Well, so I can't do it for full pay. The rule in the city of Olmsted Falls is if you hold two positions, you are not allowed to be paid full pay. So I believe the current pay is $45,000, so you'd have to do it for $25,000. So no, I could not do it for full.
Mrs. Newman, will you have to hire a person from outside the city to serve in this position?
I thought we were having the same question.
No, what I said was specifically in this specific situation, the person asked a specific question.
Can you repeat the question?
Yes, for sure. Will you have to hire a person from outside the city to serve as safety director?
No, I don't believe so. The mayor of North Olmsted was not a firefighter or a police officer. The mayor of Westlake, I could name a million mayors in the state of Ohio, not a million, but I could name a lot of mayors that were never in the safety forces and are the safety director of their town, of their city, and doing a very effective job. So no, I don't believe I would need to hire an outside person. I would be very qualified to do the job.
Next question. This is for both of you. The Olmsted community has been built by volunteers. The PTA started Safety Town. Kiwanis built the old East River Park playground. The Boy Scouts started Yard Charge as examples. How will you foster this spirit of cooperation and volunteerism in our community?
Oh, I go first. Great, thank you. So this is easy for me. I'm already volunteering, and I see so many faces out in the audience tonight of people that have rolled up their sleeves right next to me volunteering. And so we are a very fortunate community where people pitch in all the time. And I'm excited that we have such engaged citizens. I think that we could engage our citizens more. And I intend to do that. One of the number one priorities that I would like to accomplish, if elected your mayor, is to have a community survey to ask the residents what's on their minds and understand what they like about living in Olmsted Falls, what they don't like about living in Olmsted Falls. Gather that data, share that data, let's start some conversations and understand what people would like to see as we move forward, and then keeping engaging them in the volunteer work that needs to be. Thank you.
Mr. Gross.
Yes. So I've talked to a lot of people. I've also done some community volunteering. One of the biggest complaints I hear is that there's not a lot of support from the city. And usually that's financially, usually that's police officers, usually that's firefighters, resources type stuff. I have some friends who used to do a really nice Halloween decoration, trunk or treat, and all they really were looking for is a little bit of funds and a place to store their creations. And so I think that the city, if I'm elected mayor, could definitely help out financially and definitely help out with some non-monetary type resources.
The next question will start with Mr. Gruss. How is the small population of the homeless in the Falls and Township, how are they monitored and helped?
I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know that we had any homeless people in the city of Olmsted Falls. I don't know about Olmsted Township. I do know that we do have some underprivileged families I do know that there is a program through the school system and the counselors. And I do know that they do report to the counselors. I've been on the fire department for 22 years, and I've never come across a homeless person in the city of St. Paul's.
Mrs. Newman.
So homeless, looks different for everybody. And, a homeless person, living on the street, sleeping on the sidewalk, while we might not have that, it's true to say that we do have homeless, population here in Olmsted Falls. The school, is very in tune to that. We take care of our kids, that come to our school every day. We're very fortunate that we have, two very good, food pantries, one in Olmsted Falls and one in Olmsted Township. Christians in Action, that services only Olmsted Falls and Olmsted Township residents. Community for Better Living is another food pantry in Olmsted Township. So we do have resources here, to support anybody, that is in an insecure living situation. And, we're thankful, for their support.
The next couple of questions are dealing with sidewalks. So I have two questions for each of you. Mrs. Newman, we'll start with you first. What is your opinion of the sidewalks in Olmsted Falls?
So I think that, sidewalk connectivity is something that we should really focus on, connecting with our neighbors in 44138. I think that's a collaboration opportunity that we have with Olmsted Township. We have areas where it just stops and they have a sidewalk and we don't, or why can't we connect those sidewalks? I was chatting with some residents in Falls Point. And I said, wouldn't it be great if we could connect your grandchildren that live on the north end of town, that they could ride their bikes all the way to you here in Falls Point. And so I think that we have some really good collaboration opportunities to improve our neighborhood connectivity towards that.
Mr. Gross.
Yes. So I agree. We do have some areas in the city that do need to be evaluated. I have some opportunities out there for some grants that we can apply for that would help with providing some of those sidewalks. It's not quite as easy as everybody thinks, as Ms. Newman expressed. You know, sometimes we have to go from the falls to the township to the falls. You can't just go to somebody in the township and say, we're putting a sidewalk in front of the yard. And there's also some houses in the city that just can't put a sidewalk in the front yard just for the way that it's designed. I've actually been in contact with our service director. It costs approximately $100 a foot for us to put in the sidewalk. So finances are significant. So we would definitely have to get some kind of outside source funding to assist with that. And like I said, I do know there is several grants out there that we could look at and apply for. Hopefully increase the amount of sidewalks in the city.
As a follow-up on sidewalks, Mr. Gross, would you support a ballot issue submitted to the voters to do sidewalks in the entire town?
The short answer would be yes, but it would be after we've exhausted every other opportunity to get grant funding, to do some fundraising, to do some collaboration with the township, maybe do some collaboration with the schools, the state, whoever. At the end of the day, if the citizens want sidewalks and they're willing to pay for it, who am I to tell them no? However, I believe it's the position of the mayor is to exhaust every opportunity that is available before we go to that.
Mrs. Newman.
One of the initiatives that I have to enhance our quality of life in Olmsted Falls is to continue to support the service department and make sure that we understand that we have a maintenance plan and a general idea of what every road and sidewalk look like and the condition of those in Olmsted Falls. And again, let's not try and put it on you guys. We're paying enough in taxes. Let's try and look for alternative sources of funding and partner with our neighbors to see if we can pull some grant money together and connect our sidewalks and figure that out so we can be more connected.
The next question, we'll start with you, Mrs. Newman. And it's a little bit different, so hear the wording. What do you consider to be the biggest strength of your opponent?
I think that Mr. Glass has passion for his city as I do, and I appreciate that. He seems like a very caring person, and I appreciate that. I think that's great, and I appreciate that he is passionate about the place he lives, and has a very nice family. My daughter and his daughter is in school. I think that's great. Thank you.
Mr. Glass.
Yes, I think Holland's biggest strong point is, she's born and raised here. She's spent her whole life here. She's dedicated the past 12 years of her life to the schools, to our children. And so for that, I do appreciate her. I am thankful for her that she does that, because not a lot of people do that.
Just to check, how are we doing on time? For questions? More? Wrap it up. Final question. Mr. Glass, what economic challenges do you foresee, and how would you address such issues?
Are you asking from a business standpoint or from a residential standpoint?
I didn't clarify, so you can answer for you.
So from an economic standpoint, residentially speaking, obviously, unfortunately, we have a bunch of houses going up. And we will be collecting income tax from them. So once those houses are built and once they're sold, once the people are providing or paying their portion of REIA, our income taxes will actually increase. The city of Olmsted Falls financially right now is actually in a pretty good place. From a business standpoint, I just reiterate that I think the city needs to do a little bit more about attracting business, assisting the businesses that we have, and showing the business that we have and new businesses why doing business in Olmsted Falls is a good thing.
Mrs. Newman,
You might repeat the question.
what economic challenges do you foresee, and how would you address such issues?
So Mr. Bliss is correct. Our city finances are looking better. They're looking better all the time. And I'm grateful for our current administration that they were able to build up a general fund budget excess of almost $4 million. And with the new growth that we have in the city today, it is going to increase our revenue. Responsible growth equals revenue growth. And that is how we should carefully move forward to make sure that we have sustainable funding. I think that we also need to hit heavy on alternative sources of funding through grants. We do that in the school district more than ever. And I think that we need to do that more in the city of Olmsted Falls to pay for the things that we want to pay for. I also think that we need to talk it up. Why is Olmsted Falls a good place to live and grow your business? Thank you.
We move on to closing remarks for the mayoral race. Mrs. Newman, you have 2 minutes.
Again, I would like to thank the Olmsted Falls Chamber of Commerce, the Olmsted Kiwanis Club, and the League of Women Voters for their opportunity to engage with the community and answer questions. I am honored to have been trusted by the residents of our community as an elected official for over a decade. As mayor, I will continue to earn that trust by keeping the community well informed and strengthening citizen engagement by seeking taxpayer input. I have executive leadership and management skills I will bring to City Hall to enhance our quality of life. I will continue to support our safety forces to preserve our excellent safety rating and support our service department to ensure our roads are safe and parks are well maintained. I will commit to responsible planning by reworking the master plan. We will review every aspect of living in Olmsted Falls to establish a strategic plan for the future ahead. You can expect me to build collaborative relationships with our neighbors and Cuyahoga County. Together, we will find effective ways that work and make sense. We will seek to enhance living for 4138. In addition, I will continue to remain tax sensitive and ensure that all of our policies are fair and equitable for everyone. I will reject any new residential tax abatement. I will look for ways to reduce the tax burden on our citizens by seeking alternative forms of revenue to support our budget. Finally, and simply put, you can count on me to show up and work hard. In my tenure as a public servant, I've consistently shown up, only absent from 4 meetings in 12 years. I participate and volunteer at community, school, and business events. I shop local and dine at our restaurants to support our economy. The community knows me because I am present and engaged. You can count on me to put the hard work in, representing you in the best interest of our city. Thank you.
Mr. Flush, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming. I ask you for your support on November 4th to be the mayor of this fine city. Some of the things I've found is I voted to stop the tax abatement. I have voted to put a moratorium on new builds. I'm working to reduce property taxes. I strive for transparency for residents, including live online viewing council meetings like tonight, so that we have access to more of our meetings. Again, I'm the first mayor to ever be supported by the police, fire, and service department. If you've driven around downtown, you see that I have significant community business support, and there's a reason for that. For 8 years as a fire inspector, I was in and out of these businesses. I was able to talk to them. I was able to ask them what helps, what doesn't help. I was able to be involved in 2 businesses that tried to build businesses here in Olmsted Falls and were unsuccessful. I have the knowledge to know that we need to make some changes on some of our boards and commissions to give them the power to allow them to change some of these things so that we can enhance what we have and to hopefully help enhance growth in what we need. I listen to all residents. I don't necessarily need to put out a questionnaire to find out what the community wants. For the past 21 years, I've been in your homes on calls. I've heard what you need. I've heard what you want. I've heard what you're asking for. I kind of pride myself in looking to help out the feral cat population. When I was called about a feral cat population, I didn't know what a feral cat was. However, it's a problem within the city and it needed help. You know, as a firefighter, when we're called to respond to an emergency. We don't ask questions if you're a Republican. We don't ask questions if you're a Democrat. We come in and say, hey, you need help, and here I am. And while this is not an emergency, I'm asking you to let me respond and be able to help fix these problems within the head of the city. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, could we please thank the city mayor? With the candidates for Olmsted Township trustee. Ms. Crumpo. And just to set the stage tonight, what we'll be doing is we will have each of the trustee candidates, and we will start in alphabetical order. They will be given a allowed to give a 2-minute statement. At which point we will then open the floor to 25 minutes approximately of questions. And then we will follow that up with closing statements going in reverse order. So with that in mind. The 3 candidates for Olmsted Township trustee are Riley Alton, Chris Anastopoulos, almost got that, and Bob Perez. Mr. Alton, your opening statement. 2 minutes.
Thank you so much. I'm Riley Allen. I'm so honored to serve as one of your 3 Olmsted Township trustees. I am a byproduct of the. It's so nice to be able to see people who didn't support me 4 years ago, but since I was a little kid, and even me and my ability to try to make a difference in this community. I ran 4 years ago to listen and to lead with a fresh perspective, to the service driven. And you know, everyone knows I was elected at a young age 4 years ago, and I always wanted to be worthy of that trust. And so every day for the last 4 years, I've worked as hard as I can to respond to the residents, to prioritize our first responders, to make sure that we are keeping up with our growth so that it does not expense our quality of life. That has meant a variety of things from investments in our fire department, police department, service department, building department. Many of those funded through grants and minimal costs to the taxpayer. I also work at the State House. I've been budget director there for some time for tax policy, and I'm keenly aware of some of the challenges that townships across Ohio, especially here, one where we're growing so quickly, to keep up with that growth when our property tax levies are capped and we are dependent on residents to basically continue to believe in us. So I feel like I was a freshman when I began, I'm a senior now, and I learned a lot. Really look forward to continuing to have your support. Thank you.
Mr. Anastopoulos. I do. I know that. He's in Kiwanis. Anastopoulos.
First, I'd like to thank everybody for coming tonight and taking time out of your busy schedules and listening to this stuff. I would like to thank also both Kiwanis, League of Women Voters, and the Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event tonight, and the school district for allowing us to use their wonderful auditorium. So my name is Chris Anastopoulos, and I'm running for Olmsted Township trustee. A little bit about me: I've been a resident for 22, almost 23 years. I've lived in this township here. I'm a homeowner. I pay the same property tax that every one of you do. I know how that hurts. I know what it has to do with. I also like to serve the community through volunteer work. I'm also a union representative for the National Association of Letter Carriers, where I also serve as the health benefit representative, and I help over 3,000 members of our union navigate through their health insurance, including Medicare. Also, I'm the state of Ohio coordinator for our food drive. So the whole state in one single day, we raise over 1 million pounds of food. Every letter carrier participates, and that does come back in our local communities, including Olmsted Falls and Olmsted Township. So I would just like to say thank you for everything that the community gives to us, and it's time for us to give back. That's all I have to say.
Mr. Perez, 2 minutes.
Howdy and good evening, everyone. Thank you to our sponsors. Our community deserves leadership that listens, that leads with integrity, and is committed to a balanced progress with our unique character in our township. As a U.S. Air Force veteran and a lifelong public servant, I'm a member of the Olmsted Township Board of Zoning Appeals. I'm a member of the Board of Education, and with over 25 years of experience of handling taxpayer dollars. I've dedicated my life to service, to transparency, and to doing what is right when it isn't even easy at times. As your trustee, I will lead with transparency. I will ensure your tax dollars are spent wisely. I want to ensure that we support and equip and train our safety forces, our police, our fire, and our EMS. But I also want to approach balance with our beauty of our township with economic development. I want to continue to improve connectivity through sidewalks, trails, walking paths. I want to preserve our equestrian corridor and enhance our green spaces. I'm going to advocate for seniors, for families, and of course, our all longtime residents here. Building bridges between the township, the falls, and the school board is a priority because when we all work together, we all benefit. This race is not about politics. It's about you, the people. It is about making Olmsted Township strong for today and for tomorrow. But I can't do this alone. I need your support and I need your vote on November 4th. Let's move forward together and at the right pace.
Moving on to questions. First question will be for Mr. Perez. Same question to all three of you. How do you plan to manage growth and development while preserving the character of our community?
Well, one, we do that through our zoning laws. We do that to ensure that we want to manage these large housing developments that come in. We want to advocate that through our zoning laws. We want to ensure that we're not absorbing communities that are 200 to 300, 50 homes. But what we want to do is we want to ensure that Olmsted Township is a business-friendly place. We want to preserve that. We want to preserve our mom and pop shops. We need to do it at a scaled pace. We need to work with commercial developers that want to come into our community. And we do that through negotiation. We're just not going to turn over our town to those developers. It's best that we work with them and collaborate with them in order to strike the right balance.
A reminder to the candidates is 1 minute on questions. Mr. Old,
Good question.
same question.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that's really the fundamental question of being a township trustee in this era in the township and has been for the last 20 years. We are the fastest growing community in the county, according to the County Planning Commission. And I know how to manage growth because I have done it as board member. I'm actively supporting updates to our zoning code. I hope to undergo a master plan update, a land use plan update, if reelected. And at the end of the day, it's about investing in infrastructure, such as roads, such as sidewalks. We've been competitive in security grants for those. And essentially, we have to have the right planning documents in place to be defensible when we do down developments. And I voted for developments, I voted against developments. It's about having the right plan in place that reflects what residents want. And I think it has been over a decade, and it's time to update our fundamental planning documents.
Mr. Anagnostakis.
First, I think the township would have to slow down the developments that are going in. Being part of some issues that have happened in the past with some of these developments and constructions, and my neighbors and friends of mine in the township that suffered, especially through the flooding issues. We all know that our infrastructure currently cannot handle any more stormwater or anything like that. So we need to slow down our current development process, and we need to look at our current infrastructure and find a way to enhance what we do have before we can build anything else. That's my view.
Next question. Mr. Alden, we'll start with you. How do you define effective local leadership?
It's a good question. I think it's a balance between listening and being responsive to resident concerns. But if we're talking about effective local leadership, you have to have relationships with neighboring municipalities. We have to have more of an open relationship with the city of Olmsted Falls, with the school district, with North Olmsted. I think we're making great strides in doing all of those things. But especially as a township, we are incredibly dependent on Cuyahoga County and the state of Ohio for what we can and cannot do. And so building those relationships as a board member, I think is absolutely critical. And I think because of my work for the state and also
my background a little bit in county government, I'm well positioned to lead effectively and help drive down costs by applying for grants and working with other communities to cut costs on existing services without cutting quality.
Mr. Nicholas, how would you define effective local leadership?
Effective local leadership is you have to be present, you have to care, you have to be willing to get out there, get your hands dirty, and and Riley's right, you do need good communication, not just with other governments and neighboring cities, but with your local employees, with your residents, your neighbors. You have to be able to be open with them, honest, transparent, and expect the same thing in return. That's good leadership.
Mr. Perez.
I can't disagree with either one of my opponents. We do need to collaborate with our neighbors. We do need to listen and to learn from our citizens. What's stopping us from maybe assembling or creating community groups to provide inputs on big issues that are affecting our community? The township is a very special place. And the one thing I do like about our township is that it's small, and that as an elected official, when you're there and you're engaged with them, they don't hesitate in telling you like it is. And if there's one thing that I've enjoyed from talking to our residents during this campaign, is that they'll tell you how it is, but they also expect their elected officials to speak with integrity and to be transparent. And that's what I think local effective leadership is.
Next question, start with Mr. Anaxopoulos. As a trustee, how will you build a bridge with the city to work collaboratively?
With other cities or certain cities?
Olmsted
Falls. Basically communication. It's being willing to sit down in the same room and talk it out, and not your way all the way. You got to get it. You got to get it. That's basically going to be the key to that. It's good communication, being on the same page as your neighboring community, and just working together.
Mr. Perez.
I'm relatively a new resident here in the township. So moving here, I was astonished that there was no communication or collaboration, or very, very little collaboration with Olmsted Falls. One of my main goals is to, how about we just get the elected leaders in the same room? How about we just break bread and have a conversation? How about we work on ideas that are common to all of us, like sidewalks? Why can't we work together on sidewalks? Why can't we work together on maybe a joint business plan to ensure that both communities are thriving? That is the approach I would take. On day one, I would reach out to the mayor and every council person to sit down over coffee, breakfast, dinner, FLBs, or in the fall it gets. But we have to talk to one another in order to move forward and have progress.
Mr. Old.
I agree with everything that's been said. I think the most important collaboration that folks in both communities want to see is movement on the JED that we have had for 20 years. I'm very proud to have been on the board when we hired the township's first economic development director to professionally market the JED and get it in front of folks, not just for TVO and Cuyahoga County and the way they pitch economic development, but also for Jobs Ohio. And it is my hope that by continuing to work together on the JED and perhaps having more investment on both sides on the JED, we can land a major project that would, thanks to the payroll tax from the city, help lower costs, help lower our residential property tax burden. And that is absolutely critical for funding our police officers and our firefighters, and we have to diversify that revenue stream. And if we cannot hit pay dirt on that JED with Olmsted Falls, then to me, a lot of the other collaboration is really moved. So that is what's most important.
Next question. Start with Mr. Perez. Now, you've heard this question that was given to the mayors. It's a little bit different. Listen to the word. What do you consider to be the biggest strength of your opponents? Mr. Perez.
biggest strength for Chris here is Chris has a heart of gold. Chris will work hard for any organization that he's involved with. I've seen Chris's action in Kiwanis, and if you ever need a volunteer, Chris will be there. As for Riley, I've known Riley more in a professional sense, and him as a trustee. What I appreciate from Riley is his direct connection to Columbus as a town and the county. You know, as a township, we rely on the county a great deal. And we also rely on what's going on in Columbus. And that direct pipeline, I appreciate very much.
Mr. Olmsted.
Thank you. First, I want to say for Mr. Agustopoulos, I appreciate his passion as well. And in particular, I appreciate his union background. I think it is so important for local elected officials to understand the role that unions play and the importance of working with them, having positive, open dialogue with them. That's something I'm really trying to prioritize as a trustee, and I know as a trustee, that's something that as well. I appreciate the background that he brings with his military service. I appreciate the discipline and the work ethic that lends him. But I also appreciate his kindness and his level-headedness. And I think, how much you care. Thanks.
Mr. Nagusopoulos.
So Bob hasn't been in our community very long, but he has gone 100% in our community, and I appreciate that from him. I think that's one of his strong points is that he does care, and he is a compassionate individual. He is a very smart individual, and he's pretty level-headed, like Riley said. As far as Riley, I think his greatest strengths of relying on his background and his willingness to go after certain things and not be afraid to call neighboring communities and go to the state and say, hey, this is what I know, meet me here. And I think that's Riley's strength is his go, and his willingness and his knowledge. So.
Next question, we'll start with Mr. Alton. What is the biggest problem in the township, and what steps would you take to fix it?
It's easily cost of living. I hear from folks all the time who currently live here and feel that they can no longer afford to, or folks who really want to live here, maybe to move near an aging parent or something and cannot. So I think it is critical that we do everything in our power to invest in services, but also find a way to lower the residential property tax burden. That is really complicated. That is really hard to do. It is not going to happen overnight. It needs to be done, and we need to be exploring every possible opportunity, including shared services, to lower those costs.
Mr. Nagusopoulos.
Can you repeat the question again, sir?
What is the biggest problem in the township? What steps will you take to fix it?
I think there's a couple of things the township could use attention to. One of it is its older infrastructure, specifically with stormwater. It is a big one, and I think the township needs to start looking at how to build a good foundation for what it has now before it starts to move forward and build other things and expand. So it's not going to affect the residents that are living here. Also, there's an issue with some of the residents that have been lifelong residents and the newer way the township's going, and some of the zoning laws changing and so on and so forth. And there's not a great communication right now between the residents and the township and what's changing. So I think communication and throwing some more information out there and getting some more input before some decisions are being made on what's being changed would be a great step forward.
Mr. Perkins.
Taxes are too high. The tax burden on our residents is suffocating. And that is due to part because Columbus is not working for us. So what we have to do is we have to try to ease the tax burden through economic development and business growth, first and foremost. And the next, I would hope that we continue, or I would hope that we start collaborating with our neighboring cities, especially the falls. Because if we can move forward together with a great business plan, I think we can put a dent in that tax burden that every taxpayer, bears a burden of.
Next question, we'll start with Mr. Nagasolis. How will you handle maintenance of sanitary sewer infrastructure?
Sanitary sewage falls under Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District. It is very important that the township maintains a good relationship with them. And when there's issues that pop up, that it is reported to the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District. They have been pretty good with responding to stuff. Even as a resident calling them, they pay good attention to us and fix a few issues here and there. But again, it comes down to the infrastructure. And I know they are planning a big infrastructure build, and it's just taking some time because they are acquiring a lot of land to put some excess flow reservoirs to divert some of the stormwater so it does not dump into the sanitary. That's been a few years on the making, and hopefully it'll be completed soon. But that's it. It's just staying in communication with the organization that's in charge of that.
Mr. Perez.
The key is collaboration. We have to collaborate, as Chris said, with the sewer district, and we need to collaborate with the county. Folks, sometimes don't realize the township has very little say when it comes to certain things. And this is one of those certain things that the township really doesn't have a say on. We can work with them, we can make requests, but at times the county will come down or the sewer district will come down and they'll mandate things. So again, the key is collaboration. The key is communication. The key is to work with these agencies.
Mr. Alton.
Once again, agree with everything that has been said, but I would add that in order to understand what stormwater and sanitary issues are, we have to study those, and we have studied those through a Stantec study that the board spent a pretty penny on. And I forget the final figure because it was slightly before my time on the board, but it's like $50 or $60 million to truly address all of the different stormwater issues across the township. And obviously that is not going to happen overnight. We're going to keep chipping away at it. I am excited about the Pitch Road project. I think that's going to be helpful in that area a little bit. But at the end of the day, there's also a significant section of the northern part of the township that is technically on North Olmsted system. And to Chris's point about cross connections, I don't think that is working very well for those folks. And I am eager to continue to work with the county to try to finally buy out that section and get it over to an NEORSD because I think they are the stronger stormwater agent. I think, North Olmsted has done a great job on a lot of things, but that agreement was decades old and is not serving us well.
I want to check on time. How are we doing? 5 more minutes. Okay, we've got a couple more questions. Mr. Perez, we'll start with you on this. The township has a lot of land. What will you do to commercially develop the land to help lighten the tax load on residents?
Well, what I would leverage our current director, economic development director, to tackle these issues. We want to remain a area that is business friendly. I definitely understand that we have residents here that feel that we shouldn't grow anymore. We shouldn't develop anymore. Because can our roads handle it? Can our infrastructure handle it? And those are fair questions. And those are good questions. But once again, in order to ease the tax burden, we have to remain a business-friendly area, and we need to collaborate with all parties involved to include the business community, include the developer, and the board of trustees.
Mr. Alton.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel like I've touched on this a little bit, so I don't want to be too redundant. But moving beyond our existing new economic development director that I'm very proud of, I think that yeoman's work in marketing the township, doing a regular newsletter with existing businesses and kind of marketing the township both publicly and communicating in a transparent way so that folks understand how to contact the township to work with us in terms of bringing in that commercial development. I mean, it starts with simple stuff. But I'm also interested in exploring
a potential joint economic development district with North Olmsted as well. We already have one with Olmsted Falls. North Olmsted has a pretty significant economic development department that I think, they basically get in charge of payroll tax and a small portion of the township to do a jet. And so they're getting free money, and we should get something out of that. Something we could get out of that is perhaps the utilization of some of their resources for economic development, some of their staff as well. We've only got one part-time guy who's doing a great job, but we need a little bit more help.
Mr. Stokes.
Can you repeat your question one more time, sir?
The township has a lot of land. What will you do to commercially develop the land and to help lighten the tax load on residents?
First, everyone needs to understand that the township doesn't really collect an income tax. So to go out there and to start developing our land into businesses, we really wouldn't bring too much benefit. So we do have a large portion that is the JED. So that needs to be focused on a little bit more. And the economic development individual that they hire, that the trustees should meet with them a little bit more and start pushing them in the right direction as well. That's basically how it would have to be done. You have to be done careful planning, agreements with different businesses that would want to come in, that they would be willing to pay an income tax, or we would not reap any benefits just to bringing businesses in.
On to the final question. Mr. Nagastopoulos, we will start with you. What is your stance on funding for police, fire, and EMS service?
That is priority number one. Without a safe township, we don't have a township. We need our police, we need our fire, we need our service. Those are guys that we depend on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We can't function without them. And so that is a top priority. And they need to be funded properly. They need to be paid accordingly. They need to have the benefits that they deserve. I'm telling you, if I'm suffering a heart attack, I don't want to be, being treated by the cheapest guy that we put out for bid. I want to be the guy that's the best out there. I want our police officers to be the best out there. I want them to know what to do in every single situation, which they do. But I don't know if we have enough of them. Especially with us growing at the rate we do, we might need a few more. So that's something that needs to be looked at. But yes, funding would be a top priority for them.
Mr. Perez.
Correct, there's no question. Safety forces are a top priority. Being an Air Force veteran, I appreciate the fact that I was well trained and well equipped. And when you're well trained and well equipped, you're ready to go. And these men and women who wear the blue and who wear the red deserve every cent that we can possibly allocate to their budgets. Those individuals are on call pretty much 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days. And those are the folks that sacrifice. Those are the folks that miss Thanksgiving. Those are the folks that miss a Christmas. Those are the folks that we must make a priority. We must keep them as a priority and must have them well trained and well equipped. No question about it.
Mr. Alden.
Once again, I agree with all these things, and I hope folks will judge me by my record on this issue in particular. In partnership with the rest of the board, we applied for and received a $1 million saver grant to hire 3 additional firefighters for 3 years. We got letters of support from both Senator Sherrod Brown and Congressman Max Miller to make that happen. So it's bipartisan to try to land the plane on that. We were literally the last cycle to get safer. And so we barely made it. And I'm so glad we did. The reason for that is it is a balance, truly, between being respectful to the taxpayer, being respectful to the poor woman in our home who can barely afford property taxes as it is, and having to live within our means. But understanding that I agree with both these individuals. We have grown tremendously. We have to add additional firefighters. We have to add additional police officers. I've done that. I've supported that. I've championed that. And that's not always been easy, but we've done it in a way that's saved people money because we've been able to push off some of these costs. So that way, many communities, they got to go back to the way out more often. We're able to push it off longer.
We're now moving on to closing remarks for the candidates. First up, Mr. Perez, 2 minutes.
Our township is ever changing. In my experience as a civil servant, my experience as a veteran has taught me that change will come no matter what. But you need to be prepared for that change. And I have relied on that experience to get me through my service, to get me through my wife's 2 deployments in Iraq, and to raising 2 wonderful children. You have to adapt to change, and you have to be ready for change. And I'm that leader that is ready on day one when that change comes. I'm ready to listen. I'm definitely ready to learn. And I'm definitely ready to represent our township's residents. I know your burdens. I'm there. I want to continue to serve. That is my life's call. Simply to serve. I want to do what's best for my community. And I'm ready on day one to do that for you.
Mr. Nagastopoulos.
Being a resident for 22 years and some odd months. There's a reason I'm running for Olmsted Township Trustees because I care about our community. I want to make sure it stays a great place to live, and my priorities are simple. We need to spend our tax dollars wisely, support our seniors, responsibly create more recreational opportunities, and keep our neighborhoods safe. As a trustee, I promise to be open, transparent, and always available to listen to your concerns. With your support, we can keep Olmsted Township moving forward while protecting what makes it special. My door's always open, my phone's always on. If anyone has any questions, they can always call, they can knock on my door. I'm always there. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Mr. Weld.
Yeah, thank you, everybody, for coming. And again, I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to serve these last 4 years. I ran 4 years ago because I truly believe that our government should work as hard as the people that it serves. And people work their tails off here. And I will never stop fighting to make it work better for you. I brought a fresh perspective these past 4 years. I will continue to bring a fresh perspective to the board of trustees. And I am tremendously proud to be from this community, to have the record that the board has had for the last 4 years. I think we've done yeoman's work, but there's so much more we can do, and I'm just very excited for the potential of these next 4 years. And appreciate everyone's time tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please thank your trustee candidates? Would the candidates for Olmsted Falls Council at Large please come to the stage? Kristen, alphabetical. Yeah, I've asked them to sit alphabetically because it's easier for me to figure out who's going to be. All right, the candidates for Olmsted Falls Council at Large: Brian Chittister, Megan Coy, Jennifer Jansen, and Gary Thompson. As we've done in the past, tonight, we will give 2-minute opening statements. We'll do it alphabetically from A towards Z. We will then open it up to questions because there are 4 candidates who will go for a maximum of 30 minutes. If we don't need it, we will conclude. And then there'll be time for closing statements going from Z to A. So with that said, let's get started. Mr. Chittister, you have 2 minutes to open.
Good evening. The number is 30. I am 30 years old. So when I say I've lived here for 25 years, the math is pretty simple. From Falls Lennox through high school, from Girl Scouts here to Boy Scouts, from the different athletic teams. Friends keepers here. I have Olmsted Falls. my life at some point in time throughout my childhood. And with that being said, I am one of the individuals here who is younger and want to continue to lead this community in good standing, in which it was given to a great push to better this community with its finances, with safety, and I want to continue that for the next generation, such as the previous leaders have done for me. Thank you.
Ms. Colbert.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Megan Floyd, and I have been serving on council at large since I was appointed by the current council back in October 2023, and then I was elected by the residents that to start my own that January. I work full-time as a registered nurse in addition to being on council. I'm a member of Olmsted Community Church, and I chose to make Olmsted Falls my home 4 years ago when I purchased my first house here. I grew up in Avon Lake with my family. My parents still live, and I went to school in South Carolina. So just a little about me. As a member of council, I am really proud of how I have connected with here in the community. I'm present at different community events, the Kiwanis pancake breakfast that was already talked about. I was grateful to have the opportunity to speak at Chestnut Grove Cemetery on Memorial Day with the residents that were there. I've been at the Eagle Court of Honor for our troop that's celebrating, I believe it's the centennial this year in the community. And one of the most fun moments was getting to speak to a local Girl Scout troop who was obtaining their local government badge. So I really enjoyed being a part of our community and getting to know all of the residents. I listened to the residents' concerns, knocking doors. My neighbors come right up to my door. People catch me after church on Sundays sometimes with their concerns. So I'm proud of how I have connected with the people, the business owners in Pacific Junction especially. And I am grateful to our Kiwanis and Chamber of Commerce and the League of Women Voters for organizing this. Thank you.
Ms. Jensen, 2 minutes.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jennifer Jansen, and I'm running council at large in Olmsted Falls. After serving on the Park and Recreation Board, I was elected as council at large, and I served from 2019 to 2021. While I was on council and while I was on the Park and Rec Board, I hit roadblocks on issues that I felt were key importance, like ending the residential tax abatement, creating a moratorium on new builds, and helping our businesses during COVID. So, because of those roadblocks, I ran for mayor in 2021. With no fundraisers, no direct mailers, no campaign manager or marketing consultant, I lost, but only by 30 votes. My campaign was truly grassroots all the way, and I'm very proud of that. I'm running again for council at large and not for mayor, because I believe with Chad as our mayor, I can be a part of making Olmsted Falls a better place. Chad can agree to disagree, compromise, work with people on all sides, and admit when he's wrong. He has decades-long relationships with the heads of our departments, our residents, and our business owners. Some of my top priorities are boosting our economy, showcasing our heritage, improving our community spaces, and strengthening the leadership of our elected officials and volunteers. If you didn't grab one of my newsletters on your way in, then please grab one on your way out, because you can see some of my vision that I see for the future of Olmsted Falls. Thank you all for coming.
Mr. Thompson, 2 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Gary Thompson, and I am a third generation Olmsted resident. My grandparents were here. My father and both of my parents are from here, graduates of the school in 1950, 1955. I graduated in 1975. We just celebrated our 50th reunion this past weekend. I also started our business here out of the corner of Book and Columbia in a small garage, and have grown it into a quite large operation as far as the power equipment industry goes. I've served as president on many local organizations, also including the Chamber of Commerce. We incorporated while I was president that year with Dr. Kreiner. I served as chairman of the Olmsted Bicentennial Committee, served as a charter review committee for the Olmsted Falls. And three of the four items we put on the ballot were passed. The only one that failed was moving council terms to 4 years instead of 2, but that's fine. We can live with that. Thank you for that. Yeah. I was also instrumental in creating the Joint Economic Development District, which is key. We have come so close so many times to finally be able to alleviate the tax burden on this entire community. And as I remind everybody, it's a 50-year agreement, and I certainly had hoped we would have something in place by now. But I will tell you this, that is 250 acres that you cannot build a house on. So that is key, and it preserves that property for commercial development, and that benefits both communities. Finally, we're going to have a new mayor. I considered running for mayor. I'm trying to retire. I don't need another full-time job. So that is why I considered running for the council. Council needs some experienced leadership, regardless of who's elected. Thank you.
Moving on to questions. Right. The first question is actually a two-parter from the same individual. It's to all of you. So we will start with Ms. Coy. How will you maintain the small town feel, quote unquote, of our community?
I really recognize the value of that small town feel and the love we all have for Grand Pacific Junction and getting to know each other. I grew up in Avon Lake. I watched the community I grew up in go through that rapid change of, the paths I rode my bike through in the woods that are now housing developments there. As far as my parents go, one of the stories my dad talked about is how the one housing development is where he took my mom's snowmobile for their first date. So I get the meaning that those areas have to the people of our city. So I really think we need to be thoughtful about our zoning. I know we reduced how many houses can be built per acre from 7 to 5, but I know the multi-use traditional neighborhood development is also an issue for a lot of residents that allows for townhomes and residential single-family homes to be built. So a project supported the moratorium on building right now.
Ms. Jensen.
I agree with the things that Megan said, and I'm thankful that they have moratorium in place and that they ended the tax code on new residential builds. So hopefully that will decrease more residential developments going on, especially at the steady pace they were beginning to come. What I also want to do to promote and to keep our small town feel is I want to bring back Heritage Days and other events that bring us together, because I believe that we need to keep and make traditions that are generational, that we can have the same memories with our grandchildren we have with our children and with our neighbors.
Question again is, how will you maintain the small town feel of our community? Mr. Thompson.
Yes, obviously there's been a big change since Mr. Williams has passed on to the downtown area. He was a very strong advocate for that. But the zoning is what controls most of the development in any community. It doesn't matter what it is. We have a master plan that's coming up in the next term. It'll be for the next council to have that done and put it out there. And basically, that master plan incorporates the residents into that whole thing to get their opinion and what they would like to see in that master plan. I'd like to take that a step further and include, if at all possible, any way we can do that, the township in that plan. Because if I look at just the falls, the development's down Columbia Road. If I look at both communities together, it's down there. So how do we blend those two things together and control and bring in development? I've also been an advocate on planning commission to retain the 10% and not give it away for commercial development that's currently happening down Columbia Road.
Mr. Chittenden.
Olmsted Falls is going through kind of a growing pains. We have residents who lived here for longer than I've been alive, and there's been residents here who just recently moved in since either the new to the build with the, you know, the lot of homes that are for sale. I think the big thing is having the city is involved with any of the events downtown. Because to me, I like sending these items down in the center of town instead of going downtown. Because it's a lot quieter, it's a lot more peaceful, and you can get way better price. So finding ways to have the city council, have whoever's the next mayor, work with the different organizations within the community to sponsor events so that residents want to stay locally instead of going.
Next question, part two, if you will. And some of you may have touched on a little bit of this, so this will give you an opportunity to expand should you choose to. How will you preserve, and maybe even more importantly, grow precious, scarce resources in the community? That will be to Ms. Jensen. Sorry.
Precious scarce resources. Take a minute to think about what those would be. I assume that the question, the person's question, that resources would be our land, our rivers, the creek. I hope that's what they're referring to. If that is what they're referring to, then I think that as far as land goes, I agree with Gary. And one of the things I want to do that's in that this letter happens, I think we need to form a committee to rezone our city. This should have been done years ago. And when we do that rezoning committee, we need to look at the zoning specifics and Olmsted Township and important communities so that our spaces are coherent and cohesive, and that all of those are natural areas like the falls and our parks are all still protected within those zones.
Mr. Thompson.
The question.
How will you preserve and grow the precious and scarce resources of our community?
Not exactly sure what they're referencing, but I'm sure it's the land. One of the things that, if you're not aware of, the Metro Parks has a greenway project that links up, like I say, Brandon Woods all the way through Olmsted Falls, Olmsted Township, and continues on over to Mill Stream Reservation. Currently, we have a developer that has a piece of property that he wanted to give to the city, and the city at that point denied that. They said they didn't want it. I approached the Metro Parks Board about it and haven't heard anything back from them. So one of the things, if I'm elected to the city council, would be to advocate to have that park, which would be a new park that gives us river access, and it also would link up to the Greenway project that the township is going to begin construction on, I believe, very soon. So that runs under the high tension wires that comes across Columbia Road. Thank you.
Mr. Chittister.
So about 6 months ago, Mr. Sari, myself, Ms. Chloe voted for it as well. Introduced the first batch of more 6 month program, and then recently just voting on 6 months to continue to review and look through what's going on in Olmsted Falls. Like I just said, we're going through some growing pains, and so the goal that I'd like to continue next term is to review a lot of the vacant and see what the potential could be zoning classifications, whether it be residential, different residential, perhaps to not the so we're seeing or switching to commercial or some other form of business zoning, so that we can figure out ways to better use all of the remaining resources in other words where
Ms. Core.
So I take this question as meeting our spaces. So I really look forward to starting a new master plan for our community, and then getting a report from our city planner. That's why we extended the moratorium, is we're waiting for that to look at the infrastructure, all of the concerns a lot of residents have raised when it comes to that, new developments going in. On the basis of the greenway, I know I brought that up at one of the planning and zoning committee meetings several months ago. I have reached out to the Metro Parks about how, we can partner with them to maybe help with our parks, have bathrooms at David 48 Park that have been locked for a while now, and then also working with County Executive Chris Romaine to address the kind of the greenways program, because the township and Maria are doing their part. We need to do ours so we be connected to the greater community.
Next question, we'll start with Mr. Thompson. This is a question I've given to all the candidates. You've heard it before, so listen to the word. What do you consider to be the biggest strengths of your opponents?
Serve with Brian, I sit down there, serve with Brian on the planning commission. So I would say the ability to listen to the residents and bring those issues forward. Megan, I don't know you that well, but she has been at some of our planning commission meetings, and she has voiced the things that she has heard from the residents to us on that commission. Understanding there's only so many things we can do based on what the zoning is. So I think your dedication is probably one of those things I would admire in you. Ms. Jansen, it's kind of, we ran into each other in March several months ago, and she told me that when she heard I was running, she wasn't going to run. And I encouraged her to do so, or otherwise it wouldn't be here tonight. Wouldn't be for us anyway. So I encouraged what she did before, the voice that she had on council, and I thought she had some wonderful ideas.
Mr. Chipster.
I'll start with Mr. Thompson, because he was such a great compliment to me between both planning and zoning and our time outside of that committee. You don't just know the policy, you know the story behind it, so you understand why things were done. So you bring that history knowledge back to city council if you feel like it. As Jess and I know that only the 2 years, but the 2 years that we had to go through, you were very talented individual. I thought you were really great on council. Love to continue working. And it's brought a lot of that community experience as well. And for you, Megan, every time I've seen on council, when there's you have an opinion, stay quiet, you're gonna push it, you're gonna stand your ground, you're gonna make sure that people know where you stand, so that there is no doubt where you are. But it's good to have that sort of mentality nowadays in city council.
Ms. Coy.
So I have to say, I am sitting with a wealth of experience. Despite the other three candidates up here, I appreciate Gary's knowledge and background, because I am able to call you and ask you questions and all of that, because you do have that background knowledge. And I think that'll be very, very valuable with the upcoming election. And then I've also been able to call Jen as well when I've had questions about her experience and things she's done on council. So I'm grateful for that. I think you having children at home too, that was another perspective. You know, having moms on council is important too. And then also, Brian, I appreciate all the work you've done and the legislation you've worked on council, and just, you know, your experience as well. And being, I guess, the younger people on council to an extent. So, but I enjoy working with all of you in different capacities.
Ms. Jansen.
So, start Gary, because I've known him longest. I appreciate everything that you've done for our community for decades, and all the different ways that you have served in so many various roles. And I'm so thankful that you're running again now. And I'm honored to be sitting here next to you. He has a wealth of knowledge and a treasure to our community. Megan, I haven't known as long, but I love that she will work with all sides. She will work with all sides. She will reach out. When she has questions, she seeks those answers. She does her homework. She researches. She does everything that she can to get the answers and get to the bottom of it. Brian, we don't serve together for 2 years, and it was a little while ago now, but I remember how you were consistent. You were consistent. You were always there. You showed up, and you ran the meetings professionally. You were engaged.
Next question. Sidewalks. You guys turn. How do you plan, and we'll start with Mr. Chittister. How do you plan to repair, replace, and then build new sidewalks?
The big thing is finances. I think the last 8 years with our administration has been very clear. We want to make sure we save and holding on to our finances as possible. So the goal would be to work with the county and the state to find grants where at all possible so that the taxpayers aren't for a majority of sidewalks. Because I'd like to have more walkability or accessibility response to the fear. Because unless you know me, I'm partially blind. So me riding a bike on the streets is kind of a little bit nerve-wracking, even though I've done it before. So I'd like to be able to find ways to get state and federal funding or even county funding for our sidewalks.
Ms. Cohen.
So as a member of chair of the Community Development Committee, that is a conversation we have started with the service director. I actually did find one grant that I sent over to our finance director, but was told no, unfortunately. So I will continue to advocate for that. I know I spoke to residents that are over off of Lynchburg that are wanting sidewalks, up West Boulevard connecting to our downtown. And also a lot of us over in Ward 3 as far as Falls Point and the Westview community over there, connecting up over that overpass where on Usher, where it goes over the turnpike. Because I see so many of the children in our community riding their bikes or walking over that overpass that we really need to address that as far as community safety, and that would take partnership between us and the township. That is one of those areas that kind of goes back. So I would really advocate for partnering with the township to for grants that we can work together on. Thank you.
Ms. Jansen.
Well, obviously sidewalks is a big issue in the township and the falls, and you've probably heard us all pretty much say the same thing over again. We need grants and it's very expensive. So I think that what we need to do now is try to think outside the box. Like maybe we can get some type of sponsorship or some fundraising, or could do something else. But even if it's just a little piece at a time, I know we can't and don't have the money to do massive amounts of connection at a time. But if we could at least lay a little bit every year, we would be further along.
Mr. Thompson.
Yeah, I have a little different approach, maybe. I agree with what everybody said. As Branson, sidewalks have been on the agenda for probably 20 plus years, as most residents know they're responsible for their sidewalks in front of their house. But however, we have a street lighting program, and we have a tree program that every resident pays a small amount towards. They have those benefits in the community. And I think we could probably investigate a way to do that with the sidewalks so that we could put in new sidewalks. And then for the benefit of the residents that already have sidewalks, the maintenance of those sidewalks would turn over to the city. The sidewalks are in the right of way. So I don't know what the costs associated with that would be at this point. We're not going to do it in 1 year, but it's possible we could do that over a number of years to build new sidewalks. And then if there are sidewalks that need maintenance, just like we do with our road program, and maybe it could be part of our road program, that we could get the sidewalks done throughout the whole city.
For our final question, we will start with Ms. Coy. With limited resources, how would you prioritize public safety, infrastructure, and services?
Prioritize all three. Let's see. I mean, ultimately, public safety is a major priority. I think our service department does amazing work, I will say. And I admire what Joe is able to do with the very limited budget that they have, maintaining our roads and all of that. I can't even, what was the third one?
Services.
Services.
It was safety, infrastructure, and services.
It's so very intertwined, is the best way I can put it. So I think infrastructure is also key in our community as well, because I know that is a concern of a lot of residents as far as sewers and all of that. But we also want to make sure that we are giving you the community services you're looking for. So I'd really like us to work more closely with the Olmsted Community Center to help with our recreation program as far as services. And also look at that whole recreation center people keep asking for too.
Ms. Jansen.
I'm going to make it simple. There were three things and putting them in order of importance, right? So safety, services, and then infrastructure.
Mr. Thompson?
I agree with that. Safety is always number one. That's the whole purpose of government in the first place. Safety, the infrastructure, number two, and then the services that the city can provide to its residents, based on the money that's available to do that.
Mr. Joseph?
Anytime that this, that the police and fire come up, for asks for like, hey, we need new service rifles, we need new police vehicles to provide it, we're not gonna change any of that. We're not gonna change anything when it comes to the service department. The main focus is going to be construction right now, due to the increase amount of construction that has gone through with all the developments. The infrastructure is concerned. That's why we introduced the first batch of platforms. We introduced the second batch is because if the water can't flow and we can't get sewers to move, then we have to try. First and foremost, this services and police will be more than taken care of. Like our chiefs, we like service director, they're not but the best in the state. I want to make sure that they're taken care of, but at the end of the day, if the residents don't have good infrastructure,
We'll now move on to closing remarks. Mr. Thompson, 2 minutes.
Yes, I think I bring the experience to the council that the council is going to need. We're going to have a fairly new council. I've served on council for 10 years, 4 of those as council president, so I can assist the mayor in those responsibilities. The biggest challenge, I think, and the trustees alluded to that, currently there's no communication between the trustees and the falls, and it's not the trustees' fault. We need to bring communication back. I see this as one community with 2 governments. I tried to change that many years ago. We failed by 91 votes. I don't advocate that I'm going to try to do that again, but I think we can collaborate in so many different areas. The falls needs building inspector, building department to help with all the new housing that is being built. We have a part-time person. We need some economic development, and it needs to be done together, not separately. We could investigate ways that we currently have good mutual aid between both communities, but I think there's ways that we could streamline that and maybe create some type of a safety district, either with Falls Township and possibly North Olmsted, since we're all under that umbrella now in the dispatch services. So I think there's a lot of opportunities out there. That's why I'm running again, that try to bring collaboration between the falls and communication between the falls and the township together. And that's basically my entire platform, is to collaborate with them, educate the new mayor on what needs to be done and how it gets done and who it gets done through, and with the county and the state and the other representatives that we have.
Ms. Jansen, 2 minutes.
I want to thank the Chamber of Commerce, the Kiwanis, and the voters for hosting this event tonight. And I want to thank everyone who came to watch, even the ones who are sleeping. I hope that you were inspired and that perhaps a flame was lit within you to get involved as well. There are many ways which you can serve without being an elected official. There are many volunteers in both the falls and the township who are the foundation of our communities and behind the decisions that take place. More times than not, we are faced with opposition and negativity when doing that which we believe. So I also want to thank all of the people that are on stage now and that were on stage earlier today. It takes courage to do this, and it takes action. Our words are very powerful, but they can only do so much. So I thank you all for your actions that brought you here tonight. And collectively, everyone in this room, I thank you all, because collectively we bring the unity that's in our community. And it's a blessing to be a part of 44138. Thank you all.
Ms. Coy, 2 minutes.
Thank you to all of the residents who are here tonight and for all of the thoughtful questions that you all asked us. I know this is an event that a lot of residents were asking me for and talking to me about, so I was really grateful when I heard that the Chamber of Commerce and Kiwanis were going to take this on. So thank you to them for this. If you have any additional questions for me, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can either get my city email on the website at mcoy@olmstedfalls.org, or email is boyforolmstedfalls@gmail.com. I am grateful for the opportunity to have served our community for the last 2 years on city council and hope to continue to bring you all in the new year. I would say my priorities if reelected are ensuring our infrastructure is prepared for all of the new developments that are going in, support our economic development efforts, supporting small businesses in our community, advocate for the development of a new master plan, address the need for sidewalks to connect our neighborhoods in several areas of the community, and work to improve communication with residents. Need an updated website, as I'm sure many of you know, you can't access it on your cell phone very easily, so we need to fix that as a city. I look forward to reviewing the report from our city planner in the coming weeks that will address those infrastructure issues that many of you have raised concerns about. And you can use that to consider how we best address the growth in our community for everyone. I recognize that I work for you, the residents of the city, in my capacity as a city councilwoman, and I hope to continue that work. Please don't hesitate to contact me, as I said, and I am employed, and I hope to earn your vote on or before November 4th. I have 15 seconds, so hopefully they're okay with this. I'm going to give a quick shout out to Anita Greller, who's running for Ward 1 unopposed, Scott Sorry in Ward 4, and Brett Yapiola in Ward 3. So thank you guys for being here.
Mr. Schuster, 2 minutes.
Thank you guys all for coming out. Thank you for everyone who put this on and actually decided to wear pants and not be comfortable while watching Netflix or Hulu at home because we all decided to dress up and see. So thank you so much for coming. What I've enjoyed since 2019 has been giving back to the community. So it's been an honor to do this, and I would love to continue to over it. I know the options are already to pick 1 of 3 of us, well, up to 3 of us. So my hope is maybe I'm not your top choice, but I want to be one of your guys' choices. I want to continue serving this community that's given me so much for the past 20 years. It's not just on city council, but like I said, from the school district here, staff here, getting a athlete to senior or senior wrestler. So I've loved this town since day 1 of moving here. And I want to continue just giving back to that same community for the next generation. I really hope that fourth, I never 13. So I'm really hoping that I get a nice birthday present and enjoy it in 2 years on city council because working with Scott Zahari over the last few years and what about Phil beyond city council. So those people are fantastic. And you know, it's been awesome. And I'd love to just continue to work with them on city council because they're really love to pick their brains while at city council meetings and running the finance department, being part of some of these major changes. So I hope to you guys vote. I said maybe not the first choice, but one of the 3 choices would be awesome. So again, thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, your council at large candidate. Going to reposition the camera just a moment. As is just mentioned, 3 of the candidates are running unopposed, so they're here, but we've asked them not to speak. The final piece tonight, before I close this candidates night, is Ward 2. We have 2 candidates there. One of them was not able to be here. One is here, much like the other candidates are. But we've invited them to give us statements. So I am going to read to you what they wrote. So we'll start again in the spirit of alphabetical order. My name is Jacqueline Barkowski, and I am honored to be running for City Council in Ward 2. Olmsted Falls has been my home for many years, and like so many families here, mine is deeply rooted in this community. My husband and I are raising our 3 children here, and every day we experience the strengths that make Olmsted Falls such a wonderful place to live. strong schools, beautiful green spaces, and neighbors who truly care for one another. My professional and volunteer life has always centered around building community and fostering connection. I'm a board-certified music therapist, and my career began with service in hospice care before moving on to work at the Beck Center for the Arts. Since 2015, I have focused on raising my children while continuing to serve in meaningful ways. I now work in the Children's Department at the North Olmsted branch of the Cuyahoga County Library as a branch services assistant, a role that allows me to connect daily with children and families, encouraging literacy, curiosity, and a lifelong love of learning. Beyond my professional work, I have been deeply involved in local organizations. I serve as a key communicator for Olmsted Falls schools, helping bridge the gap between families and school leadership. I'm also a soprano section leader with Windsong Cleveland's Feminist Chorus, where I contribute to uplifting voices and creating inclusive spaces of the arts. In addition, I've served on the city's Park and Recreation Board, where I have helped plan and lead events that bring neighbors together in our beautiful public spaces. These experiences have reinforced for me the value of connection. When people feel welcome, heard, and valued, communities thrive. That belief is at the heart of my campaign for City Council. My goal is to strengthen the connection between residents and city government. I believe that when communication is open, transparent, and accessible, we create an environment where everyone can participate and feel represented. By making City Hall more approachable and responsive, we not only improve efficiency, but we also ensure equity. The decisions are made with the needs of all residents in mind, not just a few. I'm also proud to share that I have been officially endorsed by Every Town for Gun Safety. As a mom and community advocate, I know how vital it is to keep our neighborhoods safe for our children. This endorsement reflects my commitment to fostering a community where safety, care, and responsibility are prioritized. As a candidate, I am not running alone. I'm running alongside all of you. My family and I are invested in the future of Olmsted Falls, and I am eager to work with neighbors across Ward 2 to build on what makes our city special while addressing challenges we face with creativity and collaboration. Together, we can create a more equitable, connected, and welcoming community for everyone who calls Olmsted Falls home. I hope to earn your support, your trust, and most importantly, the chance to serve you on City Council. Those are the remarks from Jacqueline Bartowski. And the other candidate for Ward 2. Good evening, my name is Sean Woolen, and I am the current Ward 2 council member running for re-election. I have been in this position since 2021. I've been a resident of Olmsted Falls for 26 years, and I've been married to my beautiful wife, Lisa, for 31. We have raised all 4 of our incredible children right here in Olmsted Falls. We love this community. Olmsted Falls is an excellent place to live and raise a family. I've spent my entire career as a public school educator. For 31 years, I have worked as a coach, teacher, and for the past 22 years, a school administrator. My wealth of experience as a school administrator and member of council have helped me to serve and help others, and I believe qualifies me to be the best candidate to continue to serve Ward 2. My priorities are safety, fixing our roads, and finances. I will continue to be fiscally conservative with our taxpayers' hard-earned dollars. Since being on council, we have strengthened our budget, building our carryover to nearly $4 million. Olmsted Falls has been ranked the safest city in Ohio. I supported the purchase of 2 vehicles for our fire department. We replaced the roof on the fire station and replaced equipment so that the department is able to perform their job efficiently, keeping our citizens safe. I supported the purchase of 2 new vehicles for our police department. I supported the purchase of all new technology for our police department, such as the flock system, I think that's what it's called, the drone system, and I continue to support our K-9 unit. I support placing 2 full-time school resource officers in both Falls Lenox Primary School and St. Mary's of the Falls in order to keep our children safe. I supported the purchase of equipment for our service department that help maintain our beautiful city parks, roads, and keep Olmsted Falls looking beautiful. I voted to end tax abatement and will continue to make sure that tax abatement does not return to our city. I voted to extend the moratorium, which put a lid on any new residential developments. I believe that actions speak louder than words, and my actions over the last 4 years have kept our citizens safe and saved the taxpayers money. It's unfortunate that my opponent is not here tonight, but I will be here tonight and will hang around and answer your questions. I believe the choice is clear. With my experience, education, professional background, and actions I have taken on council the last 4 years to protect this community speaks volumes. I respectfully ask that you vote to keep me in this position. It has been an honor and privilege to serve you. Thank you for taking time out of your busy evening to be here tonight. And that was for the candidate, Sean Bowman. I just need to find my closing notes. There we go. First of all, I just want to say I've been part of Kiwanis in these communities for a very long time. And although I live just outside of Olmsted Falls and Berea, I just want to say that tonight, hopefully you were really encouraged because the quality of the people who sat in front of you tonight was really special. All of these people greatly care. And I think the future for both communities with the kind of people that are running for office is really bright. Thank you for all being here. The candidates, thank you for being here. Encourage you to stay around and talk to folks. And thanks to the Chamber of Commerce, Olmsted Falls, Kiwanis, and the League of Women Voters. Thank you, everybody. Good night.